Right now on News 8 at 5, an officer-involved shooting. What we're learning tonight after two East Moline police officers get into a shootout with a suspect. And back in Iowa, presidential candidate and New Jersey Senator Cory Booker is back in Iowa this holiday weekend. How he's trying to win over voters in the Hawkeye state.
Live from WQAD, this is News 8 at 5.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Marissa Sulik in for Luke Cleary tonight. Topping our news tonight, an attempted traffic stop quickly turned to a shootout in East Moline last night. Investigators say an East Moline police officer tried to pull over a car last night just before 8 when the driver refused, leading police on a short chase. Investigators say the passenger, 25-year-old Daryl Strunk, got out of the car and opened fire toward a squad car behind him. Two East Moline officers then returned fire. Strunk was taken into custody after a short foot pursuit. No officers were hurt in the incident. Strunk is being treated at a local hospital for non-life-threatening injuries. He's charged with aggravated discharge of a firearm. State police say additional charges are expected. We're learning more about a suspicious death in Burlington tonight. Investigators say 62-year-old James Pogamiller was found dead in his home Friday. Autopsy results are pending. Iowa DCI is assisting in the investigation. We'll have more on this developing story as it becomes available. In your flood watch tonight, the Mississippi River is once again on the rise. At last check, the National Weather Service is reporting a level of 17.3 feet. The Mississippi expected to rise up to 19 feet, cresting on Thursday. Flood stage is 15 feet in the Quad Cities. A quiet afternoon weather-wise, gorgeous conditions out there right now, but there is potential for more showers and storms tonight. Storm Track 8 meteorologist Eric Sorensen is in the Weather Center tonight with the first check of your forecast. Hi, Eric.
Marissa, things looking very, very nice here for a Sunday. However, things are going to get active once again, and this is exactly what we've been forecasting several days back. We're saying, yep, storms are pretty likely for our weekend, but we promised you many dry hours, and that's what we've got going on right now. As we look at what's going on here across eastern Iowa and western Illinois, nothing here. In fact, the clouds are beginning to go away as well. Now, I can't rule out perhaps a 1 in 10 chance of seeing an isolated thunderstorm because you can see here there's still a little bit of storm energy around, especially to the south of the Quad Cities. But you're not going to get it out of these clouds. These are pretty small and temperatures are warm. 78 degrees at the Quad City Airport, 76 right now in Davenport with winds out of the west at about 10 miles an hour. Here's the forecast for the next 8 on 8. You see those rain chances here. I'd put about 10%. That's going to be about it. As we head through the overnight hours, things are fairly quiet, but once we get to about 5, 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, that's when storm chances are going to ramp up. Marissa, we're going to talk about the chance of severe weather in the accurate 8-day forecast coming up.
Davenport Skybridge is being closed for repairs on Tuesday. The Public Works Department says the shutdown will last for about 2 months. There will also be periodic sidewalk, street, and lane closures until the bridge, under the bridge as well. The Skybridge is expected to reopen mid-July. Presidential candidate Senator Cory Booker is on the 4-day trip through Iowa. Earlier today, he sat down with News 8's Yang Win to talk about his presidential campaign and the important issues he's focusing on for 2020.
Senator Cory Booker.
Yeah. Back in the state where his family is from.
The mine's close to Des Moines, where my grandmother was born and raised.
As presidential candidate, this is Senator Cory Booker's 4th trip to the state, and climate change is top of mind for him and Americans, he says.
We make investments in infrastructure in this region, whether it's levees, resiliency, whether it's incentivizing our farmers to do things like the kind of cover crops that pull down carbon out of the air.
He says farmers he talked to are struggling under the trade war with China.
Every farmer I talk to, they don't want handouts. They want to be able to fairly compete. And this president's going about his relations with China in a way that makes no sense. If I'm going to have a big fight, I'm going to be standing strong with my allies.
Here in Iowa, there's a lot of rural communities where women do not have access to abortion.
As the debate over abortion law rages on, Senator Cory Booker says as president, he would make women's reproductive rights central to his presidency.
I'm going to create an office of reproductive freedom. And that means dealing with everything from access to contraceptive care to dealing with the challenges we have in America of leading industrial nations in infant mortality.
On cannabis, he's in favor of medical and recreational use, leaving legalization up to the states. The war on drugs, he says, has been a war on people and affected people of color disproportionately.
It's been a war on people. It's exploded since 1980, America's prison population 500%. taking hundreds of billions of dollars of our taxpayers' money, locking up nonviolent drug offenders.
Senator Booker has campaigned on a theme of indivisibility.
The only piece of major bipartisan legislation under this president was criminal justice reform, which I led from the Democratic side with Dick Durbin in the Senate.
He believes he can be the president that brings people together.
We will rise.
In Clinton, Yang Nguyen, WQAD News 8.
Senator Booker heads to Dubuque next. He says he's keeping busy on the road with snacks, karaoke, and telling his staff dad jokes. An Iowa community comes together to mourn the death of a 19-year-old woman whose baby was brutally cut from her womb. Marlon Ochoa's strangling death in Chicago has sparked outrage across the country. As Chris Gothner shows us, people in Iowa are showing their support to Marlon's heartbroken father.
Latin music played as volunteers pressed tortillas on the south side of Des Moines Saturday. Community members donated all this food so it could be sold to raise money for Marlene Ochoa's family. Meanwhile, in a Chicago suburb, hundreds gathered for Marlene's funeral. Last seen in April, Ochoa was found dead earlier this month. Chicago police say 3 suspects lured her on Facebook with an offer of free baby clothes, then strangled and murdered her, ripping her son from the womb. Her baby boy's in critical condition, facing an uncertain future.
It could have been any of us. Who doesn't do a transaction through Facebook? Who doesn't go to someone's house or meet someone to, pick something up? So the fact that this happened, it's just hit all of us.
Marlene's father, Arnulfo, still lives in Des Moines, but organizers Zuli Garcia and Natalie Espinoza say he spent weeks going back and forth to Illinois missing work. It's not only a time of anguish, but financial strain.
He's always willing to help others, so now it's our turn to help him.
And Saturday, besides money, people could leave Arnulfo Ochoa notes of compassion.
All the support for Mr. Ochoa will be welcome.
Garcia says she wants this message from Iowa to reach Illinois.
We don't want these people to just walk away after 10 or 20 years because they're young. And somebody that's 47 walking out at 20 years, they're 67. You're still young. You can enjoy life. Marlene no longer has that option.
Coming up on News 8, deadly storm, the damage and destruction in Oklahoma where an EF3 tornado left the path of destruction 2 miles wide.